Because I think it's like, do you know The Incredibles where Elastigirl turns into a boat?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, does Dash have to like ask, Mum, what part of you am I grabbing here?
You know what? I think it's just better to not.
It's better to not know, right? And that's why I don't think it's going to work in live action. I'm curious to see what they do. But, so far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home. Welcome to Wiki Quickies, the series where I, your host of this episode, Karl Smallwood, scour lengths and breadths of the internet for a wiki on a subject you're interested in, and go through it as quickly as we can to see what kind of conversation arises as a result. And today, Lucas, we're going to be talking about Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the new Fantastic Four movie. Let's go.
Yes, so that is obviously why we're talking about this. And Lucas, what do you know about Mr. Fantastic, save for the fact that he's probably one of the hardest like Marvel characters to render in live action because his powers just look weird.
They do. I will give credit to like the One Piece live action for making Luffy stretching look like not quite as weird as I thought it would, but still it's a little bit uncanny. But let's see what they do.
I'm the gun! Pistol!
Yeah, because the thing about like Reed Richards from the comics is that his powers just look so strange. Like, I can put in any number of examples like of him just using his eyeballs as binoculars. It's like, why?
Like,
you're the smartest fucking man in the world.
Parachute.
Yeah, it's like, and it must be awkward for his family, surely, right? Of when Reed Richards turns into a parachute, you've got to imagine like the Thing or like Johnny Storm's like, okay, Reed, which part of you is your dick? Right? Because I think it's like, do you know The Incredibles where Elastigirl turns into a boat?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, does Dash have to like ask, Mum, what part of you am I grabbing here?
You know what? I think it's just better not.
It's better to not know, right? And that's why I don't think it's going to work in live action. I'm curious to see what they do. But you know what, Lucas? Let's see what the wiki has to say, shall we? So, Dr. Reed Richards is a scientist and inventor better known as Mr. Fantastic, who is considered the smartest man on Earth. Which, yeah. All the shit is invented.
He's pretty fucking smart. In a world full of, like, super intelligent scientists, he is, like, the one, right?
He must be pretty smart that people consistently call him the smartest man on Earth instead of the man with a 4-mile-long dick. Like, when you can, like, wave your dick around and, like, cover a quantifiable percentage of the city block that you're in, and people still know you as the smartest man in the world. You must be
the
pretty
most
smart.
notable thing about you is still your intelligence and not your stretchiness.
And then, bam! It exploded. And in a trillionth of a second, it expanded exponentially to what became the universe we know today.
Wow, you're really smart.
Thanks, Candy. That means a lot to me.
So, he is a polymath with a mastery of all the sciences, including but not limited to electrical, mechanical, aerospace, engineering, electronics, chemistry, physics, biology, and beyond.
Yeah, and I think as well, just living in a world where, okay, maybe Doom calls him out and is like, no, I'm smarter than you, but, like, Tony Stark and, Bruce Banner and stuff will still, they don't refute that title either, so yeah, it's a...
How many doctorates does he have? Enough. And you can probably write them all at the same time, right? It's like, well, how did he attend 2 classes at once? Really? You're asking how that dude attended 2 classes at once? Just stretches his eyes into each classroom, right?
I don't want to think about the concept of, like, stretching his eyes in 2 different directions and what that would be like. It's, it makes me think of Toy Story 2, I think it is, where, like, Mrs. Potato Head, one of her eyes is, like, left in, a room somewhere and she just covers her other eye and is like, I can see out my other eye now.
That makes me think, though, like, okay, Mrs. Potato Head, which part of you is alive? Right? It's a really uncomfortable question to ask. It's like when Mr. Potato Head puts his potato head pieces into like a tortilla. And it's like, so which part of you is the part that is alive? Like, if I took away your eye, would you still function? It's probably, yeah, well, that happens with Mr. Potato Head. It's like, how many pieces of you could I take away and you'd still function? What happens if the tortilla that you're in rots? What about if someone eats it? What about if we stuck the pieces of you into the back of someone's head with like a hammer?
Yeah,
what about if we got the Mr. Potato Head pieces and attached them to the skull of a skeleton? Would that skeleton then walk around?
I got to say yes.
You know what? That's a question for another day. Instead, Lucas, let's talk about some band names. So, believe it or not, Reed Richards, a member of like Marvel's First Family, does not have that many fun nicknames.
No, and we've got to just point out, like, how bullshit it is that he just gets the name Mr. Fantastic. How fucking full of yourself are you?
Well, oddly enough, his nicknames include Brainbox Brains, the Explorer, Mr. F, and then Mr. Look at Me, I'm So Fantastic, which feels like something Spider-Man must have called him, right? Plastic Man, Stretch, and Stretcho.
Yeah, not to be confused with DC Plastic Man.
Who's apparently terrifying and a pervert.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Great.
And speaking of Plastic Man, we can now go to Lucas the fun stuff. Powers and abilities. So the most noteworthy power of Mr. Fantastic noted here on this wiki is plasticity. Mr. Fantastic possesses the ability to convert the mass of his entire body into a highly malleable state at will. How his body's respiration and circulatory system function at these distorted extremes is, as of yet, unknown. Which is just code for comic writers don't want to explain it. So how does Mr. Fantastic breathe when he flattens himself to like a micron thick and slides under a door? Don't think about it.
Does he just absorb oxygen through, like, you know, through his skin, through his suit? Like, how does it all work?
Lucas, don't think about it.
And it's the type of thing where it's probably just better to not explain it, right?
Because you end up asking questions like we did at the start of this one of like, Reed, where's your dick in all of this mess? Right? Mr. Fantastic can alter his form in a matter of seconds, often much less, depending on the complexity of the shape, and revert to his normal humanoid shape within a similar time frame. The greater the distance he stretches, or the more he extends, though the size of the objects he becomes, the weaker his overall strength becomes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, if you're, you know, stretching yourself across like 5 miles, there's not much of you in each part.
There's
right?
less like physical form there to exert strength, right? It mentions here that his malleable state is reflexive and nearly instantaneous. For example, if he was in his normal form and taken unaware by machine gun fire, his body would absorb the bullet's impact through radical deformation.
And that is the type of thing that you need to clarify, right? Is your power something that you have to like think about and activate, similar to like a Johnny Storm, or is it just ever present?
Speaking of Johnny Storm, him like normally being portrayed as a prankster, how many times do you think Johnny Storm has just thrown bricks at Mr. Fantastic? Right, just to see what happens. Like the amount of times I would walk up and just cave his head in with a baseball bat, so watch you go boop.
Oh god, there's a great bit in one, I think it's the Rise of the Silver Surfer, where the Thing gets like pushed back and flattened into a wall, and then it's like, oh, where's Reed? And like the Thing pulls himself out of the wall, and he's just perfectly flat silhouetted behind the Thing. It's like it mustn't hurt, but it looks like it must hurt so much.
Well, speaking of it must hurt, but clearly it doesn't. In fact, it was revealed that Mr. Fantastic, despite being in a weakened state, it was he who protected all of the heroes, besides the Hulk, from the impact of the 150 billion ton mountain falling on them before the Hulk caught it. And that's like that classic, iconic shot that shows how strong the Hulk is, where it's like, there is a 150 billion ton mountain that's going to crush the entirety of the Marvel hero universe. If not for the fact there is one man underneath it, and that man is very angry. And it's just the Hulk holding the fucking mountain up. But before that happened, Mr. Fantastic saved everybody. His skin is virtually impervious to laceration or punches unless he willfully relaxes his reflexive control over small areas of his body. In that case, scalpels and needles can penetrate his skin.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
So like even a blade doesn't like cut him, it just...
He has to will a specific part of his body to relax so that he no longer reflexively protects himself from the harm. Speaking of which, he can also contain explosions. So speaking of Elastigirl, he can do the Elastigirl as leaping onto an explosion and taking the force of his own body without any risk of injury to himself.
I guess that makes sense, right? If that's the explanation they've got, is just that he literally can't take physical damage, basically.
Yep. He can also elongate any part of his body. Any individual part of his body, limb, torso, neck, for example, can be extended to great distances. The maximum length he can extend his body before it becomes painful is about 1,500 feet.
About 1,500 feet. Is there, like, a measurement that I would be able to know for
Fucking far. There you go. Right. He can
Yeah,
also
okay.
change his shape, like which includes he can alter his basic physical features to take on the appearance of any other man with a similar hair and skin tone.
Well, I guess that's what I thought you always wanted. A stronger man.
Okay, at least they've taken hair and skin tone into account. I was like, he can't just be able to mystique it and turn into other people. That's not okay.
He can change his face, and also he can like bulk his body up to thing-like proportions, which increases strength to the same level, which is what he does in like Marvel Rivals, right?
Yeah, he goes Gear 4.
He can also enter a two-dimensional state, flatten himself to the thickness of an average sheet of paper.
God, that's terrifying.
Pass himself through an opening the size of an average beading needle.
It does, like, at least have a limit, then. He can't become, like, fucking subatomically thin.
And all I'm thinking is, like, my tear duct is probably, like, that thick, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Fantastic is leap into my eyes. I don't
That's
like
the
that.
thing, though. It wouldn't be like Ant-Man getting in where he's, like, little. He's just forcing more and more of his mass into you behind your eyeball at a time.
Yeah, and just pulls your eye out and goes like, aha, this is what it looks like. But other forms include a slingshot, a cushion, various geometric shapes, bludgeoning weapons, a bouncing ball. He can also turn his fingers into a key to open locks, generate wind by turning his hands into fans, entering a semi-solid liquid state, mimicking people's voices by altering the shape of his voice box, and reconfiguring his brain.
I don't know why, but out of all of those things, like, turning into a ball stood out, and I'm wondering, like, has there ever been a time where, like, Thing has bowled Reed Richards like a bowling ball?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
There's got to have been, right?
And to end on Lucas, we have one bit of amusing trivia here. When Tony Stark, empowered by the power cosmic, gave everyone in New York City Stark-level intelligence so they could all be super geniuses like him, Reed Richards got less intelligent. But we hope you've enjoyed this, as I said, Wiki Quickie, and you'll tune in for the longer episodes, which you'll find on the channel every weekend. If not, and you prefer this format, just tune in next week for another Wiki Quickie and another member of the Fantastic Four. Cheers.
They got hit